Hello, Shaun. How are you?
Hello, Nathan. I'm pretty sick at the moment.
Yes, you sound a bit sick, so I'm sure people will forgive you for your little splutters and coughs.
If you hear little sputters and coughs, I do apologise.
What are we doing today?
We're talking with a very special guest.
Yes?
She had quite the important role with the movie that we saw recently called Rings.
Rings, the new film out now.
Yes, the new Halloween blockbuster.
She's from Hollywood. Her name is Stephanie Tyler-Jones.
That's come out in March for some reason.
Yes.
She played the stand-in for the lead actor.
Yes, the lead actress. Yes, she was the stand-in. So she's going to tell us all about how she got that role, what she had to do, the whole Hollywood process. We're going to get the depths.
We're going to get the juicy material.
The juicy Hollywoodness of it all.
So she wasn't in the actual movie itself, but to be behind in words behind.
She was behind the scenes. She worked
the continuity. She would have been the stand-in.
Yeah, she would have stood in.
There you go.
So we're going to find out what that means.
We're going to find out the true meaning of standing in.
Did you like the movie?
Oh, we'll get to that.
Well, let's see how it goes. Any last words?
Good luck, Stephanie.
So we're here with Stephanie Tyler-Jones, stand-in on the film The Rings. Ooh. Was that your official job title?
Yeah, I was the stand-in and the photo double for Julia, the lead character in the film.
Okay.
And then I did like a teeny tiny bit of stunt work. I got thrown into it. So.
Oh wow.
Is that a pun? You did stunt work and got thrown into it?
Oh wow.
Was there any like?
It's a pun, and I didn't even mean to.
Oh wow.
Talented.
Ew.
Did you actually? I'm just trying to remember the film. Was there any scenes where you actually had to get thrown around, or like did you have to pretend to be scared, or what happened?
Yeah, when Julia is in Burke's house, when she's in the priest house.
Yeah.
And she has that entire fight, that confrontation with Burke, and it leads to a fight. She kind of figures out that Burke is Samara's father, birth father, and so he's blinded himself. I don't know if you all noticed that, but he blinded himself because he did not want to see Samara anymore.
Yeah,
so he's figured out his house, and Julia takes off running and tries to hide, and he can hear everything. And so he knows where she's at, and he what's the first thing he does? She's hiding by the piano, and when we set up for that scene, it was so fun because we were in an actual house in the middle of nowhere in Georgia, and out an hour outside of it.
It wasn't a set or anything like that. It was a proper.
No, we only had the last 2 weeks of shooting were done at a stage where they actually built part of Burke's house.
Yeah.
Just the staircase and that top bedroom that Samara's bones are found in. That was actually a built set, and then Sky, the girl that's killed in the very beginning, the college student, that entire scene in her apartment is all done stage work. They built that.
Oh wow.
And yeah, so we sat in this giant warehouse building and filmed both of those scenes, and it was a lot of fun. And then when we did reshoots in LA, of course they recreated where they drag Julia, where she enters the crypt.
Yeah.
The grave.
Yeah.
And where she gets dragged, there's all of a sudden this chain on her wrist, and she gets dragged, and she's hanging off the well.
Yeah.
That was, and we did that in August in LA at Raleigh Studios, and they built everything, and that was a lot of fun because I actually got dragged a little bit, and
really?
The only pair of blue jeans.
Did you have to crawl into that little hole? And
yeah, and we actually, I think I was sick the day that they did the entire thing at the cemetery. I got food poisoning that day and had to leave. Fun day for.
Would you blame the catering people for that?
No, I could never blame them, even though it might have been them.
What was for? Was it Jimmy's Burgers or something, or or was it a local? Did you go out to eat at a local bar or something?
No, they had a catering company actually from LA fly out and do it in Atlanta because everything was done in Atlanta. But those are the only scenes that were shot indoors, and then everything else was exterior and location shooting.
Yeah.
Which it was fun because we got to experience all these different little places around Atlanta, around surrounding Atlanta that I hadn't been to yet.
Yeah.
And it was funny because a lot of those communities love that film has been brought to them. And so they're like excited, and they're like standing around and they're asking everybody questions. And even like the cops are like, we were doing night shoots at the inn that they're staying in.
Yeah.
They like stay at this like bed and breakfast, and the cops there, we were there all night. I mean, we didn't get off work until 6 a.m. and they were constantly like teasing us every time we came like out from when they were actually shooting inside and we were standing outside. They would constantly tease us and asking us all sorts of questions. Like, you can get away with murder on movie sets.
So it was pretty isolated.
Literally, you can do anything, and the cops are like, "That's fine."
It's just part of Hollywood.
Yeah.
So it's one of those
really
rural towns that don't see anyone out, like anyone from the outside.
No, not really. But one town that we shot in, Walking Dead is shot there, so they're like,
Oh, really?
pretty used to it, and they just like don't even care. Like they're just like, whatever.
So it's like a little filming town.
Yeah, this is so. My main question I want to ask was, because we're in Australia, obviously, we don't really have much of a film industry in the sense that you guys do in LA. So obviously, we just see the films as they come out. But to get to where the release of the film, how long ago did you like first hear about this project, and like what were the steps to actually get involved in it?
I got casted for the stand-in role. Oh God, it was 2014.
Wow.
No, 2015.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah, it was 2015, and it was I guess it was around like April, like March, April. So about 2 years ago.
Nearly 2 years ago. Yeah.
Yeah. So it took a long time, and the film got pushed back 4 different times. The release date did.
Okay.
Because it was originally supposed to come out November of 2015.
Oh.
Yeah.
And then it continued to get pushed back until the final release date this February. So it got pushed back several times, and I don't know really why. I don't know if it was the editing. I know we did reshoots in August to add a couple things. And to be honest with you, every day we had a different script.
Really? So it was quite chaotic.
Yeah, I mean, Vincent D'Onofrio got so mad one day when we were at stage shooting because they had just came in and did a rehearsal with First Team, and they had been sent back to hair and makeup for final touches, and we were on set setting up the shot, and they came back and they handed them a brand new script.
Oh, wow.
And Vincent D'Onofrio went nuts because they were obviously taking extreme advantage of the fact that Alex Rowe and Matilda Lutz were fairly new to the industry, and they were young. And so he just he's Vincent D'Onofrio.
Yeah, no.
When I saw him on set, I was like, what's going on?
Was that crazy?
Is he a nice guy?
Yeah.
Yeah. Except when you give him a new
Oh my God,
script.
he was the best man in the entire world. I loved working with him. He taught me more than anybody did on that set.
What did he teach you? What did you walk away?
When we stop that, my dog. Sorry,
It's a dog. Yeah.
But when I first got to set one day, we were shooting. It was our first day at Burke's house, so we were out in the middle of nowhere at this farmhouse, and I didn't know who was playing Burke. At this point, we'd already been shooting for like a month and a half. I didn't really look at the call sheet to see who was coming every day because I was there every day, so it didn't really matter to me. And we were walking up, and it was the 3 stand-ins, and we were planning a shot of us standing kind of down, and they were over us at an angle, and Vincent walks out onto the porch, and I was like, what? I've worked with several people, and I've never been really starstruck, but that was it was crazy. And then we walked into the house and we were shooting the scene where he slams her head down on the table and she takes that tea glass and she shoves it in his face.
Yeah.
And I thought the stand-in was going to do that motion. And he told his stand-in to go sit down and that he was going to do it. So I had Vincent D'Onofrio's hand like on my face, just slamming my head down on a table over and over again. And I was like, I love this.
Living the dream.
This is like the next day. I was like, this is awesome. And then he just sat there for 2 hours and he talked to me about his family and his farm and my career and where I like what I should do. And he was just really nice and genuine and humble and just a breath of fresh air.
Yeah.
Because everybody, I don't know, it was at that point, the set and a lot of people that worked on it just kind of wanted to get things done and didn't really care how they got done.
Yeah. Is this after a few reshoots? It was just like, towards the end, people were just like, let's get it out.
No, this was like the middle. This was like the middle. It was
cracks are showing. People were already exhausted. It was like the middle of shooting, and a lot of the camera guys were just mad a lot of the time. Yeah.
But it got done, and it did well in the box office, so that's all that matters, I guess.
Yeah,
gotta make money.
We've been tracking, because it's made, I think what it says on Wikipedia as of today was like about 75 million or something.
Whoa.
On a 20...
And it was a $30 million budget film.
Yeah, so it's made big bucks.
I mean, they're making more money than they spent on it, and that's their main objective, is to make more than they put into it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's a good thing. That's all you can ask for.
That's business, yeah.
Yeah.
Because I think with the, because Rings, it's actually the sequel to the American version of The Ring. Is that what it's supposed to be? It's not Ring 2, but
the third one.
Oh, it is the third one. Okay.
It's the third one. It's just a continuation, and it's a different story.
Yeah.
There was like the Ring 2.
Oh, there was the Ring 2.
Then the Rings.
Yeah.
Will there be Rings 2?
Yeah.
Did anyone hint
Rings 2
on set?
More Rings.
I don't know. They did leave it open for that to happen.
Yeah.
But I'm not really sure.
Would you want to be a part of that?
I would love to, as long as the same crew was a part of it. Because I got really attached to the entire crew. Because I've never worked on a film from start to finish. I was there from, when they were doing testing for costumes and makeup in the very beginning of pre-production. So I got to really see the entire film from start to finish. And you're with those people 18 to 24 hours a day.
Yeah, they're long days. It's insane how much they work.
It's 6 days a week, technically. We only had Sunday off, technically.
Yeah.
And did you, when you say technically, did you have to work some Sundays as well?
No, you would get off on Saturday at 6 a.m.
Oh, okay, yeah. So it's like,
so kind of
technically,
you go to bed all day, and then Sunday was the only day that you had where you were like, okay, I can get shit done today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you're honestly too tired to even do that, because we would start out our weeks at 6 a.m. call times, and then by Friday we were stopping at 6 a.m. So it was like a complete turnaround by the end of the week, every week.
Was this the first major project you'd ever worked on?
No, it was actually like my 6th or 7th. But from start to finish, it was my first. Yeah.
What's some of the previous work that you've done before?
Is it true? Were you in Fast and Furious 7?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. So what previous work? Just go through the list of things you've done.
The first thing I ever did was Hunger Games, the very last Hunger Games.
Yeah.
And I was a featured runner. I was just supposed to go down there because I was in college at the time in Lexington, Kentucky, and my mom found this casting for these extras, and I was just like, all right, I'll go do it for 6 days. I don't care.
Yeah.
And then they liked me, and they offered me a featured part where I
ran next to Jennifer Lawrence and Liam Hemsworth for 2 months.
Oh, how was that?
It was
that's
amazing.
A lot of running.
Like, that's intimidating, even for
A
running.
lot of the stuff I've done is running. Like, a lot of it is running. And it's been really annoying because I don't like to run.
Are you getting typecast as a runner?
No, not anymore. I refuse.
Okay.
Refuse.
Well, there wasn't...
But
yeah. She didn't run too much in rings, I don't think. There wasn't too much running.
No,
we didn't
plenty walking.
Really. The only time I ran was when I was probably at Crafty and they called me up to set and I wasn't ready and then I'd have to run to set. That was the only time I ran. Yeah. And I don't even think I ran then. I think I just walked quickly there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're
doing a good job of avoiding it.
Like,
You're slowly going down just to walking and then crawling. Soon you're just running and move and...
Sean's just showing off his different ways of transport that he knows. Anything else?
Crawling, walking, wheelchair,
rolling.
Rolling.
I think they call it. Yeah.
Just roll.
Just roll there.
The other actor we haven't mentioned that was like one of the main characters was his name in the film was Gabriel, but Johnny Galecki.
Johnny Galecki.
What's he like? Big Bang Theory.
Oh my god, he's amazing. I loved him. He was so interesting because he's a phenomenal actor. He's the most credible actor that we worked with.
Yeah, he was really good.
Him and Vincent, and he is amazing. And we were actually shooting in downtown Atlanta for his loft scenes, and downtown Atlanta is not safe.
Oh, okay.
Like at all, really. And this was like at the start of the Black Lives Matter movement.
Oh, was it protests or something?
There was protests, and actually a police officer got shot while we were down on set filming, like 2 blocks away from us, and all of our cops and all of our security from our film set left.
Wow.
And they would like herd homeless people like cattle, like to keep them away from our set. Like, it was really interesting, but Johnny Galecki was just hysterical to me because he has such a dry sense of humor.
Yeah.
And so
he
would say things to you and you wouldn't even it wouldn't register until like a little bit later because you're like, what? Like, you're like, really? Did you really just say that to me? And like, he just would walk up.
Do you have an example?
I can't remember. It's been so long.
Yeah.
It's been so long, but I did give him a cupcake on his birthday.
Did he enjoy that?
And he loved me for it.
Good.
He gave me a hug, and that was it.
They make $1 million an episode, those guys.
And you gave him you gave him a cupcake.
Did you see where they took a pay cut?
Yes.
All the men took a pay cut so the women could get a raise.
Yeah, $100,000 each. Yeah.
It's amazing.
That's pretty nice. Pretty nice.
He's a wonderful guy. He really is. And the guy that played what is the Holt? Alex Rowe. One of my favorite people on set. Like him and Matilda were so amazing. Like, for our wrap gift when we left the film, they didn't have to do this, but you know, production always gives a wrap gift to everybody that works on the set. And they went around and on a weekend bought VHS tapes for everyone and signed them. But every VHS tape was like, reminded them of you. So it was very personal. And like, they gave me the movie Love Actually because I'm apparently a hopeless romantic.
That's amazing.
And they know me oh too well.
How did they find all those VHS tapes? That's crazy.
I have no idea. They just all of a sudden one day started handing out VHS tapes on set, and I was like, what am I supposed to do with this?
Yeah.
Have you stayed in contact with these people?
Yeah.
I follow Matilda and I follow each other on Instagram. So when the film was premiered, I reached out to her, and she was really sweet and reached back. But Alex, I really haven't even talked to. I saw him at the reshoots, and he was super friendly as always, but I don't really keep in contact with anyone except for the director and the camera guys.
Yeah.
What's yeah, so many questions. So what's a director like? Because I wanted to ask that as well.
Javier?
Is it Javier? I don't even know how to pronounce his last name.
I don't know how to pronounce his last name either.
Gutierrez? Yeah, let's get Sean to pronounce it. Sean has a funny way of pronouncing some words. What do you think? Yeah, F. Javier.
No, it's J.
But they pronounce it Javier. It's
Javier
or Spanish.
Gutierrez.
Yeah.
Gutierrez.
He's from Spain.
Yeah, Spanish. Yeah.
Ooh.
So what is he like?
And he's amazing. I loved him. He has such a sweet demeanor, and he took the time to actually get to know me, which is really rare on a set, because the director typically like doesn't talk to anybody except the actors and producers and the DP, and that's it. But he really took the time to get to know me. Like, we were on set one day, and it was actually when we were shooting at Johnny's apartment downtown in Gabriel's loft, and he came up to me and he was like, "I've never been to Atlanta." And I was like, "Well, I haven't lived here that long." And he was like, "Yeah, I really want to like go out to a nice restaurant or go get a drink. Like, I just don't know where to go." So I gave him a list of like a bunch of places to go. And from that point on, he would like pull me aside and like talk to me about issues with the film and kind of his stresses and anxiety. And I would kind of became the person that he would vent to.
So,
which was really strange for me, because, like I said, I'd never really been in a position like that with a director of like a big studio film, and I actually have more followers than him on Instagram.
Oh,
funny.
Well, yeah, that's
Javier, but he's really great.
In Hunger Games.
Really
Hunger Games
fired him up. Find it up.
Oh, yeah.
Spanish
It was
lover.
bad. It was bad. Me just running in Hunger Games with a Cinnabon on my head, it looked like.
Okay,
but the DP was also one of my favorite people too.
That's director of photography, the cinematographer for people playing at home.
Yeah, and he was. Have you seen Whiplash?
I haven't.
Heard of that film?
No, but I know of it.
No.
I'm chronically bad at watching films.
I am too. I haven't seen it, but
So he worked on that. He or she.
He was the director of photography on Whiplash, which was actually an Oscar-nominated film, and I think it won a couple Oscars in its year. And so I got to work with like one of the best cinematographers in the business.
Yeah.
On that film too, and he just cracked me up because he's from Israel.
Oh wow.
And so he has this accent that's very hard to understand at first. And he would get frustrated because he's just like in the moment, and he's got 50 million things going on in his head. And so he would like grab me and just put me places.
Yeah.
Okay.
And,
very
and
sort of
that,
direct.
Yeah. But at the end of the film, like, he became one of like the best people. And when I actually moved out to LA, I called him like as soon as I moved here because I needed advice on like agents and that sort of thing. And he like called me and talked to me for like an hour and a half on the phone when I first moved to LA. It was like trying to give me advice and that sort of thing. And like I said, they like really became my family. Yeah. They really did.
Yeah.
And like the camera guys I still talk to like on a regular basis.
Yeah, it's amazing that like that brotherhood that you get from just being.
I cried like a baby
from the movie.
The last day on set, I cried the entire day. Like I couldn't look at anyone. I was like, just don't talk to me.
Yeah,
because it's emotional, and I think that's why it's interesting talking to you about all this stuff because we don't. I mean, we've always worked on like things on our own projects, but it's nothing like a Hollywood film where. What we see the actors, but we don't see everything that goes on behind the scenes, how many people are involved. And all you need to do is watch the credits to see how many hundreds of people are involved in one project.
Well,
I'll and there's so many people they don't even put in because they didn't put us in like they were supposed to.
Exactly. So there's even more than is listed on the credits.
That's
and
ridiculous.
It's just weird.
Yeah,
it's just,
what a ripoff.
Yeah.
We were definitely supposed to be in the credits. I don't even want to talk about it. It makes me so mad.
Well,
that's right. You're getting your credit now. You get your chance to
We'll save it for the second interview.
Yeah.
Once the movie's died down, and then you can start complaining about it.
Well, on your next film, we'll talk about that. What did you want to say something? You said I'll stop you right there.
Well, I was an extra on Neighbours.
Oh, do you know we have a TV show in Australia called Neighbours? I don't think it's big in America, but it's huge in the UK.
It's like Bold and the Beautiful.
Shaun was an extra on that. Yeah.
You know Bold and Beautiful, like Days of Our
Yeah, I've
Lives.
auditioned
It was
for
one
Bold and Beautiful several times.
You're probably lucky that you didn't get it.
That drama, like soap opera kind of thing like that.
Soap opera, for
it's
sure. Yeah.
Neighbours is the Bold and the Beautiful of Australia, and it's huge in the UK.
So I was behind
Shaun
the
was
scenes
on that.
and whatnot into that, but no one cared about me. Like I would just go home as an extra, and no one would contact me. There's a little bit of a dig at Neighbours. There's no brotherhood. There's no tears. Everyone would just be like, "All right, see you later, guys. Get out of here."
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no. When I did little stuff on movies, it wasn't like that at all. Like Fast and the Furious 7, I was there for a day, and I'm so glad I was, because I would have never went back.
Really?
Yeah.
What's wrong with that?
There's a lot of stories of tension on that, like between Vin Diesel and The Rock and all that, which is like the higher level. But
what did you see on the set of that movie?
Vin Diesel's creepy.
Really? Tell us about it. This is good.
Are we gonna get sued? Are we gonna get sued if we play this? I need to check that.
Well, someone's got
just talk and we'll cut it out if we need.
I doubt it.
What happened with
Vinny? I was on the phone outside of where we were being held at. We were at an old abandoned airport.
God, sounds like you were bloody held hostage.
Yeah, we were.
Sound very.
But I was playing an Emirati woman, and it took them quite a long time to get to our scene, because we were actually the last ones being shot that day. So Vin had all these little like insert shots where he's like on top of a building that we were shooting in the we were shooting at the airport, and I like went outside to call somebody, and typically on sets you can't have your phone, and for some reason on this one we could, and so I went and made a phone call, and I saw the cars pull up. Like I saw like these Escalades pull up, and I knew that it was probably more than likely like somebody, one of the stars coming to set. So I turned around and faced the brick wall, and out of respect, like so they didn't think that I was like talking about them or even noticing them, like I was just doing my own thing.
No, that's okay.
And I hear this scooter coming up behind me, and I was like, don't turn around, please don't turn around, Stephanie. And I felt somebody like come right up behind me, like breathing. You know that feeling like somebody's breathing on the back of your neck? Like that's what I felt like.
Yeah.
And I turn around, and Vin Diesel is backing his scooter up. And he's like, "Oh, sorry, I didn't see you there."
Oh, that's the oldest pickup line in the book, Vinny.
And I was like,
besides, do you come
okay. And I'm on the phone, and I'm like, so like flabbergasted of what just happened to me. And I'm like, I was on the phone with my best friend from home, and I was like, Vin Diesel just cornered me. And she was like, what? And I was like, Vin Diesel just cornered me. And he just like is waving to me. And I go inside. I get off the phone. I go inside. And he is like a couple hundred yards down on this scooter where Wardrobe is, just circling. And I was like, what the hell is going on?
Was he like praying for things? Was he picking up things? Like what was he doing? So he was waiting for you.
And as soon as he spotted me at my purse, he like ring like on his scooter. Here he comes. And he gets up next to me, and he was like, hey. And I was like, hi. Because we were told not to like engage with him.
Yeah. That's I can imagine.
So he's had a few warnings in the past, obviously.
Yes. So we were told not to engage with him. And so I was friendly. I was nice. Yeah. And then we moved over. It had been a while, and he had went into makeup, and he was getting ready to shoot something, or he was actually shooting something, and it was like behind a wall. And he came around, like he came through this door, and we're sitting there just like waiting to be shot. And he has his two kids, like little kids. and he's like using them to make me talk to him because I can't resist.
He's using the kids. Yeah.
Was he still on the scooter at this point?
No, thank God he was on that scooter, and he would like wave to me on set. He came into our set when we were shooting, and he was wrapped.
Oh, so he was done.
Oh, yeah, he was done for the
okay.
day. And he came and just sat and looked at me. And I was like,
But you gotta admit, though, I mean, if you're getting stalked by Vin Diesel, it's not that bad of a thing. Like, I wouldn't hate on it. I mean...
I have no opinion either way.
Like, Vin Diesel, I mean, is
Vin Diesel is a creepy 46-year-old man.
But was he a good actor?
You can watch the film yourself.
Vin Diesel.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's it's a mute point.
Sean, yeah,
it's
okay.
not that great. He's done really well for himself.
Yeah,
do you think you could contact him and get him on the show so we can discuss this with him?
God.
Get
No,
his
we don't need to get his side of the story.
Get his side of the story. This is so intriguing because you always see.
Probably wouldn't even remember it. He'd probably be like, I don't know, I've done that to a lot of people.
Is he known for doing? Yeah, is he known for doing that sort of thing? Kind of.
Yeah, we had to sign a waiver saying we wouldn't engage with him. I mean,
yeah,
it was.
What do you do when they come up to you though? I mean, do you show the waiver in his face?
Because he could probably have the power to like just say, "I want her off the set," couldn't he?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's where.
It's like you got to be careful.
That's where this is like. This industry is like sketchy because there's so much people don't know about that stuff.
Yeah, that's the juicy stuff. Like, that's what we want.
It's
what we're protected from.
Like sexual harassment is a real thing, people.
Yeah, well,
it happens more frequently, and they get away with it because they have power.
Yeah.
Like, in people fear of losing their jobs, so that it's just like, oh, I'll tolerate it.
Yeah, well, that's like with the whole the Bill Cosby thing back in the 70s and 80s. It's like coming out now because it's
people were too scared to even
exactly,
like come out.
No one wanted to lose their job. Yeah.
He had so much power.
Yeah,
it's crazy, but it happens all the time.
Yeah,
like I had an argument with a dude in my parents' house like a month ago. He's a construction worker on my parents' house.
Yeah.
He's been there for almost 2 years now. So, like, he knows my family really well. I obviously don't go home to Kentucky very often. So, my mom and I were just sitting in the kitchen having coffee, talking about this Trump stuff going on in the world, We
try and avoid talking about that here.
I know. But this is just like a small thing. I won't get into that. But, like, we were talking about Ashley Judd and how she, at the Women's March, gave, like, a very empowering speech. And I was talking to my mom about it and how this woman from my hometown said that Ashley Judd didn't have a right to get up there and say anything because she was privileged and was a rich celebrity. And I was like, hold on a second.
Yeah.
And this dude comes up to me and he's like, so what are you mad about? Are you mad about the fact that he doesn't let women do what they want or he grabbed somebody? And I'm like, do you not hear what you're saying?
Yeah, it's amazing that the both sides are so strongly opinionated.
It's very complicated.
There's always a clash.
And I was like, look, I have been sexually harassed on sets. I've been stalked by a director. Like, don't tell me that people in my industry don't know what that's like to be sexually harassed by a man with power.
Yeah.
Like, we go through it more than most people do, probably.
Yeah,
so,
I think
I can't speak for any other profession, but I can definitely speak for my own.
Well, I think there's more attention being brought to it, especially in Australia. There's been a lot of high profile sort of cases over here that it probably hasn't made it over your way, but it's becoming they're starting to, stamp it out. Like people are feeling more empowered
people
to raise
just
their voice.
promise you things.
Yeah.
Like the director that stalked me in Atlanta was off a TV show, and he told me that he had a project that he was working on that he wanted me to be a part of. And of course, I was really excited about it because he was a credible, we were on an MTV show. Like I felt like he was a credible director.
Yeah.
And he called me, he would text me, he would get his assistant to call me, he would Google phone call me because I would block everything. Like, so
a bit intense there, but yeah, as you were saying before, a lot of people still do that so they can continue their jobs and obviously get further opportunities in the future. Just to sort of whip it back around to the
so
original...
rings. No, that was interesting.
Sorry.
Look, it's really interesting that like the realities of...
That's a whole another podcast we can definitely do. For sure, like I can tell that you've got a lot.
There's a lot there that we could discuss.
Get out, so we can definitely help. We can definitely counsel you. That's fine. Just wondering. So just using that as a segue to get back into further opportunities. What are some projects you've got coming up in the future, or have you got in contact with anyone about anything for 2017?
Yeah, I'm actually going to Mississippi for 2 months in the fall. I booked a lead in a film. It's like a Southern Gothic horror film.
Oh gosh.
Oh, that sounds really interesting.
So I'm like a witch.
Oh, all right.
And yeah, so the director that I'm working with is out of Nashville, Tennessee, and he's actually he's like the creative director over country music television and MTV. And I've worked with him for years. He gave me like my first national commercial, and we just became really good friends. And
Charlie the dog.
So, yeah.
Whimpering.
And he contacted me a couple months ago, and he wanted to get drinks in LA because he was here, and he told me about this film that he's been wanting to write, and I just encouraged him to do it. I had no intentions of me being like, oh, make me the lead, like, please, like, do this for me. And he was just super great, and he called me like a couple weeks later and said, I want you to be the lead in this movie, and I want you to be a part of the creative process. So we talk pretty often, and we've met several times, just about my character and kind of where he wants the story to go, and I get to be a part of that process, and it's really exciting.
So it's almost it's like almost even co-writing in terms of having a say in the creative process.
I'm not really like co-writing. Great.
But it sounds like you have a bit more input with the development of your character.
Yeah, I do. Yeah. I just have a lot more power over kind of what I want my character to be.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's amazing.
And kind of how I want to portray her, because I don't know, we've bounced back with so many different ideas, and I get to come up with kind of her backstory and why she is the way she is, and it's something I've never gotten to do before that I'm really excited to be a part of. And
that's such a more positive thing, because actors that get to weave their own ideas into the character in this film, it always turns out better.
Yeah, when the actor gets to be involved, you get more attachment. And
for sure.
Would you say as well that, obviously that's like a main role, the stuff you've done in the past leading up to that, for anyone that like wants to become an actor in Hollywood and that you would have to, you think those parts played a role in getting where you are now? Like, did this director see you in something else? Is it like, it sort of just gets the ball rolling?
Well, absolutely. The way I went about it, my sister went to acting school and did the conventional way of going about getting into this industry, and my parents forked out a lot of money to send her to a really nice school in New York, and she didn't pursue it after she graduated. So when I wanted to pursue it and go to school, my parents didn't really want to do that, because there was that side where they were like, she might not take it serious, and like we don't, they didn't want to spend a whole bunch of money for me not to do it. So I moved to Atlanta. I dropped out of college and I moved to Atlanta, and I learned everything I know based off of experience, which I feel like gives me an advantage, because a lot of actors that do go to school never, they get on an actual film set and they're kind of lost, because they've only been in a classroom and they've only done things, unless they've had that technical training. And I also did PA work. I did production assistant work on a couple films just to get the grasp of what the other side of the camera was like, and it was really interesting. Hold on, I think my dog is doing terrible things, I think.
We're also joined by Charlie the dog.
Charlie the dog.
Yes, Charlie
what do you
the
have to
dog
say on
is
the
here.
whole? What do you have to say, Charlie?
Charlie has to say that he needs a better mom because she needs to take him to pee.
Oh, he needs a toilet.
Charlie is a great fan of the show and is working his way to becoming the mascot.
He really is.
Yeah.
He should.
Yes.
All the way in LA, he should be your all's mascot.
He's pretty. Yeah, he could be our ambassador.
Definitely.
But,
the
I'm
most
sorry, honey.
charismatic dog I've ever seen.
Yeah.
I think.
Oh, yeah.
Look-
He's super charismatic.
Well,
He's super terrible.
well, anyway, we'll start wrapping it up. But I think overall, in terms of Rings, it's definitely worth watching. So I'd recommend anyone to go and watch it.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
just-
No, it definitely is because it's a classic like scary movie character. I mean, Samara the Ring, it's just a classic. It's a classic story. Everybody knows that character. Everybody knows the base of the storyline already if you've seen the first Ring. So, I mean, why not go see it?
It was
Because it is an interesting look at Samara's character, too, because you really don't see a lot of Samara at all.
No,
in the movie.
it was, as I was saying, like when I watch films that we're going to talk about on the podcast, I make sure to not research them beforehand. And this was nothing what I expected would happen. Where,
it really wasn't anything I expected it to be either.
Yeah. Especially with it was kind of like a virus spreading, with because we can spoil it. We assume people have watched it before they listen to this.
Yeah,
so
spoilers alert.
yeah, we always spoil alert at the start. Yeah. But it was interesting how it was sort of like, it almost was like a Neo story, The Matrix, where she was the chosen one kind of thing, where she had to...
Yeah.
It's hard to explain. It's a really hard concept to explain.
No, but it definitely was because the whole time she doesn't fear her. She doesn't have any fear towards the situation because all she's trying to do is save Holt. So she kind of puts her own fears and anxieties aside and tries to save Holt. And then she kind of has this compassion for Samara the more she learns about her.
Yeah.
And it's actually really interesting because they took out this part, but they show Julia's mother. We shot it, and actually Julia's mother gets taken over by Samara at one point. They didn't put this in the movie, but I remember shooting it, and I thought that was really interesting because it was a way of connecting the two.
Yeah.
Because Samara's not birth mother, but adoptive mother killed her because she was evil. And then all of a sudden they made Julia's mother turn on her. Of course, that's not in the movie, but
okay,
that
adds a bit of depth.
Part of
like parallel.
one of the scripts, the
the
mini scripts that we had on that film.
The reason I asked you like your opinion and I gave you my, like, I was surprised. I enjoyed it more than I thought I would, because I always think like horror sequels. Horror's not my favorite genre, and I sort of don't really get thrilled about watching it. But I actually thought it wasn't that, like, I was expecting it to be terrible, but I thought it was interesting. Shaun, on the other hand, I said to him, let's talk to Stephanie first and then see if she changes your mind, because Shaun, I think it fell below his expectations.
Well, I don't think I had any expectations because I wasn't expecting a sequel or like a follow-up to a Rings film, especially being released so early, closer to Christmas than Halloween.
Yeah, we get our horror movies
closer on Halloween this past year, and it was pushed back.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just really surprised with, like, just push it back to October. That kind of...
Well, that's my
birthday. Almost 3 years after they filmed it.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
My birthday's on
There's,
Halloween.
like, no point in even doing it. If it's that... I think it was just getting to the point where it was being pushed back so much that if they didn't release it, they were just going to, like, toss it.
Yeah.
But they had done so much promotional work for it.
It's that sort of gifted time for horrors.
Yeah.
But they've still made their money anyway.
I mean, you've got James Wan, who's like an incredible horror director.
Yeah,
and
him and Lee Wanell, they're from Melbourne. They're from where we grew up.
Well, I've
did
met
Saw,
James
yeah.
Wan.
Yeah, he's amazing. Yeah.
I met him because he's the director of the Fast and the Furious movies.
Yes.
And
that's
so
it.
I met him on Fast and the Furious 7, and I had no idea who I was even talking to. Like, I talked to him
Didn't
for like a
realize.
good 20 to 30 minutes and
Yeah.
had no clue who I was talking to until like he walked off and somebody was like, "Do you realize that you just talked to you?" And I was like,
That's a pretty good LA voice
"Oh yeah, right."
from my observations.
But
Yeah, no, anyway, so that was really interesting. Thanks for taking the time to talk to us, because at the moment we're only just like sort of, this is like episode 10, so we're trying to get more people on who have a bit more knowledge than we do, because it's interesting hearing.
I have too much knowledge, but I'll try my best.
You had first-hand experience. Is there anything else you want to add that we haven't covered, rings wise?
anything bothering you? Any more Vin Diesel stories?
we can get to that. Oh wow, did Charlie just fall?
Yeah, he did. That was pretty great. I'm not gonna lie, made me pretty happy that my dog just fell on the floor.
He just collapsed.
Yeah, he just rolls off everything. But I mean, I guess just everybody go see Rings, support the film.
And we'll have to have you on to
'cause-
talk about your next film as well, whenever that.
Yeah,
that thing-
whenever
sounds
it
interesting,
happens.
so we'll keep updated.
Yeah, hopefully they're trying to make it like a low budget SAG film, so we can enter it into like Sundance and that sort of thing. So hopefully we'll see.
Fingers
We've got
crossed.
some pretty big people coming in and helping us create it. We have our location already picked, so he just has to finish the script.
I think I'd like to talk more about the sexual harassment in the industry. It's a bit of a dark subject, but it's definitely
We don't shy away.
it's definitely worth
No,
talking about. I
I'll
think.
tell you stories. I just won't drop names. I'll tell you some
that's fine.
stories.
All right.
It'd be great to get it from your point of view and you know from
Yeah,
what
and
you've
just
seen
kind of
and-
like how you deal with it and
yeah, absolutely.
that sort of thing, because it is so many people fall into that and think that something great's gonna happen and it doesn't.
Yeah.
All right. We'll
And-
definitely
so, yeah.
talk about that. Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot, Stephanie.
Thank you
Of
for
course.
your time.
Of course. Thanks for having me.
So that was our interview with
Ooh.
Stephanie Tyler-Jones.
Yep, great interview, great person.
It took a very deep sort of turn, and we got some real insight.
But some memorable stories as well. So thank you very much for that, Stephanie.
Yes, we'll definitely have to follow up that film.
Oh, there'll be plenty more in the future.
So did she change your opinion on Rings?
Well, I'm still I get now the whole delay of the film and really how many it took sort of over a year to get it out because it'd been delayed so much. But I'm still standing by that it should have been delayed until Halloween, because with these horror movies, they can only work in October. Really,
when you're in the mood.
What? In the mood?
Well, why
Well,
why can't you watch a horror
Halloween.
movie now?
No, they can't. It can't be released near Valentine's Day or Easter.
Yeah, and that's what
It
I'm saying.
only
So
works
that in the
in
mood, so you're in the
October.
mood for spooky stuff in Halloween. Is
You
that what you're
can't
saying?
be. Yeah, exactly. You can't be in the mood for spooky stuff in February.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I think I could be, but that's your opinion.
Well, it's
You're
my
entitled
opinion,
to.
because every other horror film is going to come out around that.
What I don't get though is, so you're saying is the time the film was released affected your interpretation of it?
A little bit, because it feels a bit kind of. I can even say rushed now, because it's just like,
Well,
now that they're just getting it out now and not waiting for the perfect time. Like, it feels
I think
weird.
they had it scheduled for around Halloween and then had to push it back.
I
Like,
feel
they
like
were
that,
like, we
at
can't
that
push it back
point,
another year.
They could push it back another year.
Well, maybe
I would have pushed it
but
back.
you know, there's all these. They got to make their money back on
I mean,
it.
well,
Though.
they already have made their money back.
Yeah, but
could
if
have
they've
made
had to
more
wait,
money
no, but then they would have had
in
to wait
Halloween.
longer. No,
It doesn't matter. The movie's there though. Nothing's going anywhere.
You're not talking about
with the
anything
film.
within the movie. That's what I was
Okay,
hoping
within
you would say.
within the film, I really, it's a competent film. I'm going to say that.
A what?
Competent,
Oh, I thought you said competent.
Now you're screwing me up. It's a competent film.
Competent. Phil. I'm just repeating you now. Yes, competent.
Competent film. So acting, there's a few cool visuals in it. The lighting was a little bit weird. I felt it was a bit greyish. very greyish.
Well, I like the
blue.
way it was made. I like the cinematography.
You can sit down and just view this film. But like, I completely forgot about it once I switched it off.
Yeah, you're probably not going to watch it again.
No, I didn't take anything away though from the Rings film, because again, just the timing that it came out, and the Rings sequel, it's become a bit of a meme now. These ridiculous, like Annabelle 2, The Nun, which is off, The Conjuring 2, there's Conjuring 3, there's Saw 8. So it's become a bit of a joke within itself, like Sharknado, with all these sequels coming out. So like Rings, like I just couldn't.
Yeah,
at the very beginning, I had no enthusiasm about this film.
But they tried to make it original. Like, they tried to put a spin on it. It wasn't just like a remake.
Oh yeah, they gave it the classic backstory approach. Like, let's just focus on where this happened, and the obvious approach. I liked the part of the film where they figured out how to conquer it. So by giving it to someone else to watch. See, I wanted them to go in that direction. Well, I thought that was going to be the whole film. Okay, you've discovered how it works. This girl's tried to trick you already. She's failed. She dies.
Okay.
Now you're infected now.
Yeah.
And you've got to find someone to give it to, but like the police start to discover things.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like
the
I
layers
thought that
building
was
up.
the
Really
layers
focus on
building
that
up,
stuff.
and they're trying to get rid of this film by giving it out to people. That's where I thought the movie would go. I did,
yeah. I actually had a different. I thought it was going to be like one of those virus movies, like where the virus is spreading and it goes all around the world.
Yeah,
because I wasn't quite clear on whether two people can get infected by watching it at the same time. It seems like that was the case because remember the guy had to turn his back.
Yes.
So I was thinking they were going to have like multiple people watch it and it was going to spread through the whole world.
Yeah, even that, because at the start of the movie there's an aeroplane scene.
Yeah.
And somehow it pops up on all the screens.
Yes, that's right.
And it crashes the plane.
That's right. Actually,
is she controlling things now? Like, if she can do that, then she could just pop up on any screen in the world.
I think she broke the curse at the end, though. So
by becoming the new Rings lady.
Yeah, or something like that.
So she starts peeling her
It was
skin.
left, as Stephanie said, it was left, for interpretation. It could be another one.
Do we want another one? Do we really want another Rings film?
Well, if it makes 75 million.
Oh,
money in the bank, baby.
75 million.